Julia here from JM Squared Vintage. Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a ship with me. These are all orders that came through over the weekend. Some kind of interesting sales, some cool vintage pieces. Can't wait to walk you through what they were, what they sold for, how long I had them for, really just bring you into that side of my business. But before we get started here, if this is the first time we are meeting, first and foremost, welcome. I am Julia. That is my name. We talk all things thrifting and vintage and reselling on the internet here. If that sounds like something that you might be into, consider hitting subscribe down below. I would love to have you along on this journey. But guys, without further ado, I'm a little bit time crunched today. I'm not necessarily late, but I do have something that is going on after this, so I need to get these things wrapped up and over to the post office super quick. So why don't you go grab yourself a snack, grab yourself something to drink, sit back, relax, and let's get into the shipment. So guys, I have to say, I'm really interested to hear what everybody else is experiencing, but all weekend, these are all Poshmark, Mercari, and Depop with the exception of one item. All weekend, since Thursday, I have sold one thing on Poshmark. Now, I have certainly had stretches like that before. I'll go, 2.5 months where I'm selling 5-6 things a day and then I'll sell nothing for 5 days in a row. It just seems to coincide with dips in other platforms. So it's a little unusual. I don't know if this is because of the fee change. I have had at least 3 people this weekend kind of reach out and say, hey, I was checking out, what is this buyer's fee? So I'm interested to hear, are you having the same experience? I am gonna set up a poll. If you could, just because we will never be able to see what Poshmark is seeing in terms of what is happening to their sales as a whole after this move. So let me know if your sales are drastically below where they typically are, a little bit below where they typically are, in line with where they typically are, slightly elevated, or very elevated. I'm interested to know, let's see if we can gather all of our experiences and get some actionable data, because we're obviously never gonna see the Poshmark inside data. Oh, I would kill to see it. I'm such a data nerd. So let me know. I'm really interested to hear how your experience has been. I feel like from social media, I've seen chatter kind of all over the place. So let's see what me and my viewers are doing. But yeah, all weekend, one sale from Poshmark. So first up here is this gorgeous Eileen Fisher jersey pocket tunic dress. This is one of those perfectly minimalist pieces that Eileen Fisher does. It's that gorgeous drapey jersey that just washes and wears so well. I want to say this was like a size small petite. It was kind of an unusual size. Typically when it comes to Eileen Fisher pieces, it does tend to be a slightly more mature brand. Whenever anything slants to the more mature side in terms of style, I like to find, sizes closer to the large, the extra large. This tends to be more what's looked for. They do sell significantly quicker. This one in particular, I do again think it was a smaller size, but a great basic piece regardless. Definitely something I would have picked up pretty much in any size that I saw. So this one I've had for about 7 months, and I had it listed for $45. This probably retailed $2.50. I had this listed for $45. I got an offer for $38, which I did accept with a $4 cost at a local thrift store here. That brought my profit to $28 even. So I hope she loves it. It's just, again, one of those perfect basic dresses that will work for any occasion. Next up here, and this is going to one of you guys. I knew that this would go quick. I'm such a sucker for a gorgeous velvet moment. This is from Midnight Velvet. I've never heard of the brand before, but the velvet is lovely. The embroidery is silver and icy. This couldn't be a more perfect winter topper piece. It is the most gorgeous shade of midnight blue, and it's kind of crushed velvet, so it's got the sheen. You know what I'm saying? It has a little bit of a textural sheen to it. Above and beyond the fact that it is velvet, it looks like it's frosted almost. I don't know how else to describe that. But it is beautiful. It's in perfect condition. Again, just something that will be a perfect addition to any basic outfit, especially through the winter. It just looks like a Nordic queen, just rich and opulent with the blue and the silver. I will pick up pieces like that anytime I see them. I am comfortable paying up for them. I know that they'll move quick. And people love them. These are the kind of things that are special in a wardrobe, and they tend to be expensive. Even if it's a not super expensive brand, something like that is still gonna be in the $100 range. So I had this listed for $32, and I had it listed for 1 or 2 days. Again, this is of course going to one of you, so you saw it on one of my hauls, but even if it wasn't going to one of you, this still would have sold really quickly. They get picked up really quick. People love velvet. It's hard to find on the secondhand market. Anyway, had it listed for $32 for 1 or 2 days, got the offer for $25, which I gladly accepted. With a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $21.31. I hope you freaking love this because it is so gorgeous. I hope you feel special and glamorous every time you put that on. Next up here is this adorable little satin lace bralette from Free People Intimately. This feels very Art Deco, and it's this beautiful deep red. It has these like geometric shaped pieces to them. It's like a pieced construction. Obviously not big on support. This is not something that you put on if you're like a B cupper up and you need a little bit of support. This is something that is made to be worn for the fashion of it all, for the vibe of it all, and hopefully you don't need support. Because this would probably not go well if you did need support. But either way, it is beautiful. I mean, for the people who can wear something like this is, I mean, gonna be, I could see this being worn under like a blazer, you know, for an outfit going out at night. It's really pretty. And I love finding those little pieces from Free People Intimately because they do sell very well for me. So anyway, I had this listed for just a month and I had it listed for $22. That's about somewhere between like 15 and 22 is where I usually end up selling these kind of bralettes depending on the style and size, etc. This one I think was kind of rare. I've never seen this one before. They have other styles like the galloon bralette that I see a lot of, you know, and people seek those out, but something like this I'm sure was only made for one season and then discontinued. So I had it listed for $22, got an offer for $15 within 1 month with a $1 cost of the bins has brought my profit to $12.72. Oh, I hope she loves it. That thing is just so pretty. Next up, this is an interesting one. This is another Desigual piece. I just sold another Desigual piece just last week. Desigual is a Spanish brand, and their whole vibe is like colorful and explosive prints, and it's just such an interesting brand. They do not adhere to trends. People whose style is Desigual, like I do say for anything Desigual that you find, you want to use artsy art to wear, because it is literally art. Like Desigual pieces, the way that they piece their textiles, the way that they create their prints, it is truly art. And I mean, they're definitely like an if you know brand, right? Like you might get a lot of people who don't know who Desigual is, and that's fine because the people who do know and do love Desigual will seek it out. Now, I've never had a men's piece before. This was a men's piece. So I was interested to see how it goes. Like women's pieces, and the funny thing, like women's pieces, just like a Johnny Was piece, like I can spot it a million miles away in the bins. For the most part, most of their stuff has a very like trademark look to it. Lots of turquoises and magentas and embroidered details. They're really just like a riot of color. This was an interesting print. I saw the tag and of course I snagged it. It was a size small, so I figured it might sell a little bit slower, but I was definitely willing to take a chance because I've never had a men's Desigual piece. So I had this listed for $36. It probably retailed like somewhere between $100 and $150. Desigual's pretty expensive, not crazy expensive, but definitely on the higher end price-wise. And they tend to be investment pieces, right? Like again, they don't adhere to any trends, so it's the kind of thing that whoever bought this will wear this for years to come. So anyway, I had it listed for $36 and it popped through as a full price sale after 6 months, so it did take a little time to sell. I don't know if that's because it's men's or if it's because it was a small, either or. I'm sure a little of column A and a little of column B. So popped through as a full price sale with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $28.31. Happy to be moving this on, but also happy to be getting this into a home where it's gonna get some use. Next up, this is my lone Poshmark sale. This is a little like embroidered lace caftan. It's brand new with tags. These are the kind of things they'll sell. It's a boutique brand. They're always different brands. They do sell super well for me though. These are the kind of things, they look a lot more expensive than they are. Like the retail price on this is $49. So usually the ones that I find are kimono style. So they're like long duster cardigans that are open in the front. Long duster cardigans that are open in the front. This one is caftan style, which is different. I've never seen one of these before. So these are not the kind of things that I would say like go and pick up for $6.99. Like you're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna make the profit back. These are the kind of things that sell between like $15 and $22. They do tend to sell quickly, just not for a super high price. I got this at the bins for $1, so that's a no-brainer for me. Something that I know is gonna be a quick sale at 15 or 20 bucks is an easy decision for me to make. But again, if you're shopping at the regular thrift, you don't have a bins location that you can go to or whatever, this is maybe not the move for you. Either way, I had this listed for under a week. So again, they do go quick at $22. And I got an offer for $17, which I gladly accepted with a $1 cost of the bins. This brought my profit to $12.60. So I hope she loves it. Again, these are the kind of things that they're really like, they look very special. They look more expensive than they are. And let me know, do you guys pick up stuff like that? I'm interested. I mean, I know that I have my bins location and even if it's a by weight situation, it would be probably under $1 because they're quite lightweight. But let me know, is that the kind of thing that you would pick up? Next up here, this is something I do quite a bit of. This is a Patagonia Capilene base layer. Patagonia has different weights of their base layers. Obviously you can go spring skiing, you can go dead of winter skiing, you can be skiing in Utah or you can be skiing in Stowe, Vermont. And if you are familiar with Stowe, Vermont, like negative degrees with high wind chill factors are very normal. Like 20 degrees in Utah and 20 degrees in Stowe, Vermont are very different temperatures because Utah is very dry. So 20 degrees is kind of like a mild day out on the hill. Whereas if you're in Stowe or like Smuggler's Notch up in Vermont, 20 degrees is a very different experience. That's to the bone cold, right? It's very humid there and it tends to be quite windy. So wind chill factor and the humidity make it feel very different. So Patagonia, this is like their third of 4 levels of warmth. Their first one is like a lightweight, kind of something that you're more wearing as like a barrier between your skin and your ski gear. Second level is like their mid-weight. That's for the most part when I ski out west, that's where I stay, in that kind of mid-weight level. This is really good for those Stowe days. This is like their third level Capilene base layer. You can tell by if you flip the fabric inside out, the inside is like flocked in a grid pattern. So it almost looks like an inverse waffle knit. And the fourth level that they have is what they call Capilene Air. And this is literally like a knit fabric. It feels like a sweater. In fact, a lot of people wear it as a sweater. It is very warm. It is like too warm to wear on most days, especially if you're wearing an insulated coat. But either way, these things retail, oh my God, they're so expensive. There's a reason that they call it Patagucci. Now there's brands that are much more expensive than Patagonia, but Patagonia really the thing I love about Patagonia is Patagonia doesn't just talk the talk. They walk the walk in terms of their sustainability, their commitment to their employees. They're a very, very good company. They are, I wanna say, the #1 most sustainable fashion brand out there. They're 1, 2, or 3. I know Eileen Fisher is also in that top 3, but Patagonia is, I believe, #1. Anyway, these things retail for I wanna say this level, this kind of R1 level they retail, I wanna say $89. They're super expensive for a base layer. And again, if you're out and you're skiing all the time, maybe that's a good investment for you. But if you're going once a year, maybe not. Anyway, so I have this listed for $32. This is a perfect thing to pick up on the secondhand market if you're going for one ski trip in the next 3 years. I had it listed for $32. I got an offer for $28. This one sold on Curtsy. I had it listed for 2 or 3 months, which makes sense that it would start to sell now. And with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $19.84. So I hope she loves it. I hope she gets some good use out of it. I hope it keeps her warm. It looks like she's on the East Coast, so probably going to Vermont for some ice cold skiing. If you're a skier, let me know if you know what I'm talking about with that temperature differential. New England cold is just a different breed of cold. Just like Chicago, Lake Michigan area cold is a very different cold than the colds that you get in Denver or Utah. Next up here's kind of a cool vintage piece. This is from Sparrow. This is an old Anthropologie brand. I don't know if they're still around, but it's definitely Y2K era. This is lightweight wool in this pretty chocolate brown. It's midi length. It's cinched at the waist. It is a size extra small. Now this is the kind of dress, this brand in particular, Sparrow is known for making these kind of ornate cardigans. If you ever watched Gilmore Girls, I always go back to Gilmore Girls. If you are new here and you're a Gilmore Girls fan, let me know down below because forever, it's my comfort viewing forever. Between the Gilmore Girls and the Golden Girls, I got the girls covered. Anyway, so Lane Kim on the Gilmore Girls, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should watch the Gilmore Girls, it's great. It's smart, funny writing. She used to wear a bunch of cardigans that were very boho and heavily embellished, and I'm pretty sure that they were all Sparrow. So I always use, whenever I find something from Sparrow, I always use Gilmore Girls because You would not believe how many people search for that. It's just a very distinct Y2K era style. And you know, there's a million people like me out there who have loved the show since the Y2K era that just really love that style. This is one of their more plain items, but it's still very much of that era. Y2K Anthropologie and Y2K Free People does sell very well for me. It was an extra small, so it had a little bit going against it, but either way, for a sweater dress, it kind of sold in the time that I would expect a sweater dress to sell. So I had this listed at $32 for about 4 months, and I got an offer for $25, which I gladly accepted. Again, it was an extra small, so it's just always gonna take a little bit longer for stuff like this to move. And it is kind of a niche style. So with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $20.38. And I hope she loves it. It's such a perfect little fall dress too. Next up, now this is something I feel like not many people would pick up, but it just had like the perfect break-in to me. So this is a vintage Russell Athletics University of Chicago sweatshirt. This thing is like worn to death, but like in my mind, worn to absolutely perfection. So it's got like, literally it's been worn so much that the edge of the collar binding is gone. It's like a little bit threadbare here. I'm assuming whoever had this wore this over like a polo shirt or something, because there's a little bit more wear at the back of the neck here. But it's just one of those things that is like, if your dad had a sweatshirt that you used to steal because it was like perfectly broken in and super duper soft, like this is it. That is exactly what this feels like. This is probably from the early 90s, and it is, you can tell that this has been well loved and well worn. I know every single one of you out there knows how long it takes to get a sweatshirt to the right amount of broken in. And it is a long time. Like I have sweatshirts from when I was in college that are not there yet. And they are still seeing like weekly or bi-weekly wear. They get washed all the time and they're not there yet. They're not there, maybe in another 10 years. But anyway, I had this listed for $25. Again, this is something that I think a lot of people would have passed up just because of the condition. But for somebody like me, I would seek out this level of distress. So anyway, I had it listed for $25 and I had it listed for just 1 week. And I gotta tell you, I had a lot of interest in this. Depop, it must have gotten picked up in some edit because I got so many likes over there. And it ended up selling on Depop. But like within a day or two, I started getting a ton of offers and I, accepted a bunch and this one popped through. So anyway, just under a week. Cost was $1 at the bins and that brought me to a profit of $14.85. I hope she loves it. Next up, this was a beautiful one. So this is a Kate Spade dress. Definitely a brand I always pick up, especially for dresses like this. They do sell slow, but they also tend to sell for like a very good price. This is a silk blend. It's in beautiful condition. It's this gorgeous like neutral print, exposed gold zipper on the back. I mean, Kate Spade is super, super expensive. It's probably retailed in the $300 to $400 range. It is a size 2, but again, it's gonna sell slower because it's a size 2, but because it was in such good condition, because of the colors, because of the fabric content, that is a risk I'm willing to take because I knew it was gonna sell for a pretty good price. Let me know, do you pick up special occasion dresses? I know that there's a lot of people, because they tend to sell slow, don't touch them. So I'm interested to hear like how common that is. I pick them up all the time, knowing the risk, but that's me, and everybody does their businesses differently. So I had this listed at $74 and I had it listed for about 6 months, again, size 2. So we knew that was gonna sell a little bit slower. And this popped through as a full price sale over on Depop. So there you go. So with the $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $69.84. So 3 cheers for Depop here. I hope she loves it. That dress is gorgeous. Just 2 left to go here. This is a beautiful little shirt from Meadow Rue. This is another one of those vintage Anthropologie brands. It's probably from a little bit closer to 2010, getting into like the naughty yachties. It's got that little gentle peplum. It's kind of that fairy core indie sleaze thing that was going on. Think Zooey Deschanel. That is coming back, by the way. I do like picking up Meadow Rue. Meadow Rue and, is it Guinevere? They're 2 old Anthro brands that I do like to keep my eyes out for. I use like fairy core, I use all of those kind of like keywords because they very much fit in that like ornate, over the top style. This was a size small, so again, always a slower seller, but it was just too lovely. And this I actually got at the bins back east, where it was $1.29 a pound, which is like a screaming deal. always like to keep up on that. Like what are your pay by the weight bins charging right now, and where are you? Out west I've had $2.49, I've had $2.49 a pound, I've had $2.99 a pound, and that's about what I see in this area. Down in Texas, I've been to one that's $1.99 a pound, so let me know how yours is. So this I had listed for $28, and I had lowered the price on this, and I've had it for like a little over a year, and I got an offer for $16. I was ready to move this on, and with a price that was like somewhere under $1, probably 50 cents or so, this brought my profit to $13.28. Again, happy to be moving this on. It is a beautiful shirt. Like all of those like flowers are hand painted. Like that's not necessarily a print. I think that those are painted on. Beautiful. I hope she loves this. And finally, this is an interesting thing. Now this is something that I know not a lot of people do, but I certainly do it. This is a vintage dress from Ruth of Carolina. And when I had this on the haul, I think I called it like 4 times Ruth of California. Killing it. This was a high-end girls clothing designer back in the 90s. This is very clearly 90s. You have the basque waist, you have the big like kind of scrunched waist tie, the big wide collar with the lace, the pearl buttons. It's like long. You can practically see the white patent leather shoes that a little girl would wear with this. But these kind of dresses really have a market. You know, you want to keyword it cottagecore. I also call it like 90s gothic because this is very much like a 90s camp kind of a look. But again, this was also just a very high-end designer. So if somebody is looking for a piece like this is one of those brands that probably would be up there with like a Laura Ashley or a Jessica McClintock, right? Like this was an expensive brand. Made in the US, construction is beautiful, the fabric is beautiful, the finishing is really beautiful. So I wouldn't doubt that this back in like 1989 or 1991, pretty sure this is like late 80s, early 90s, just going by the look. This probably went for close to $100, which, you know, for the time was insanely expensive. So I had this listed for $36 for just under 1 week, and it popped through as a full price sale. So there you go. Again, this is something that I love picking up. I love picking up these little pieces of like vintage children's clothing. I pick vintage children's clothing way more frequently than I pick modern children's clothing. But with a $1 cost of the bins, this brought my profit to $31.46. I can't read my own handwriting. So I hope this is going to a good home and maybe getting a little bit more wear. But that is it, guys. That is the shipment for this week. Let me know how you guys are doing. You know, again, please fill out that poll. If you're watching this like on your TV, please hop onto YouTube and fill it out. Again, we're never going to be able to see what is actually happening inside Poshmark. So let's see if we can get a little like statistical significance here on our own. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me while I literally get my work done. I so appreciate you choosing to spend a little bit of your time with me. If you had fun, please consider leaving a like or a comment on this video. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. But without further ado, have the most beautiful weekend. Happy hunting. I hope you have some really good sales, and I will see you in the next one.